Hello dear parent, welcome to today's video. If you're raising a child with a history of trauma, you've likely seen moments with their reaction that don't quite match the situation, and it leaves you wondering, where did that come from? So today I want to introduce a really helpful framework from DBT, dialectical behavior therapy, which is called the 3 states of mind, and explain how these show up in your child's behaviors, especially in the context of adoption and trauma. So last week we discussed these 3 states of mind in you as a parent, and today we're going to be discussing them in your child's behaviors and how to navigate them. I also prepared a worksheet on this topic that you can download before you leave. It's in the description box below. So if you're new here, welcome. I'm myCaRE&CO. I help Christian adoptive parents navigate the post-adoption season with faith, neuroscience, and connection to move through the trauma, stress, and overwhelm to a nurturing home, healing connections, and to walk in the grace and wisdom that God provides. And in this channel, I share gentle encouragement, faith-filled wisdom, and trauma-informed tools for adoptive parents walking through the real, the hard, and the beautiful season of parenting. So, as I always say, I hope you have your coffee, your tea, and we can spend some time together to go over this. So, what are these 3 states of mind? So, it's something from DBT, and there are 3 of them. Namely, they are emotion mind, reasonable mind, and wise mind. Let's see how each one shows up in your child. So, and again, all this is an automatic response from your child's nervous system. So they are not doing it on purpose. They're not doing it to be defined. They're not doing it to make your life hard. It's just an automatic response when they're under stress or when their body perceives stress or a threat. And again, the threat could be visible to us, or it could also be their bodies reacting to something from the past, and it remembers this as a threat. There's not safety, so they react. And they react. Let's start first with emotion mind. So this is when emotions completely take over. So the logic part, the prefrontal cortex of the brain, completely shuts down, and they're not reasoning, they're not being logical. They might be feeling overwhelmed, and often they're feeling unsafe, but they don't know it. They can't put words to their emotions. So as in terms of behaviors, how this will look like is huge meltdowns over something which in your eyes is seemingly small, or shouting, throwing things, shutting down completely, or else emotions like big fear or shame reactions after being corrected. So what's happening is their nervous system is saying, I'm not safe. It's not about manipulation or disobedience, it's just this stress response. So how do you respond best in this case? So because they're in emotion mind, their prefrontal cortex is shut down, they're not reasoning. So don't try to reason in the moment, it won't get you anywhere. Focus on safety and co-regulation. So your calm is going to help them be calm. Like when they're in this deep sea and there's like lots of emotions going on, if they sense you as also agitated and nervous and angry and upset, they're going to get more agitated. So just by being calm, you're going to calm themselves too. And you might say something like, I see this is really hard right now, I'm here beside you. Nothing else needs to be said. And again, for this, I just need to go over safety. If you think that it's not physically safe, then you have to distance yourself a little bit so that everybody is safe. The next state is reasonable mind. This is the more logical, analytical state. So again, this is when the prefrontal cortex is kind of like working overload and it's devoid of any emotions. Now, many kids with trauma don't access this easily, especially under pressure. But what happens sometimes is they try to detach themselves from all those emotions because they're scared of those emotions, and they swing to the other end of the spectrum, and they go into this reasonable mind. So this reasonable mind can be their overthinking or robot-like behavior. It could also be difficulty expressing any emotions in the moment, and they're just being kind of like we also talk about it, it's kind of like black or white thinking is very, very logic. They're trying to over-explain and manage your feelings in all this. And again, how to respond in this. The best is to bring in warmth and emotion so that you kind of like flood their nervous system with warmth and connection, and you help them reconnect. And you can also start asking them questions so that they can start switching their brain from that logic sense and bringing in some emotion. So some things like, that makes sense, and I'm wondering how that felt for you. So they have to start tapping into that emotion part of their brain. And again, just create space for them to safely bring emotions into the room. All emotions are valid. Now, the other state is called wise mind, and this is where ideally we have to be. Wise mind is the integration of emotion and logic. It's where you're accessing a piece of clarity, you're grounding yourself, and it's intentional choice. So this is especially true with children, especially children with past trauma, where they don't live in wise mind very often. They're still developing this ability, and you're there as a role model to help them to develop this ability by being that calm, present parent, and also asking them those questions, being curious so that they can start evolving that part of the brain which they need to feel safe. So how does this look like? For example, you can start naming feelings for them and stay connected with those feelings. Just being present with those feelings and not judging any feelings. All feelings are good. That they can receive correction without total collapse. And again, it's kind of like when you're going to the gym and you're slowly building muscle. The same with practice, it makes perfect, but also you're there teaching them how to build this practice. You're there coaching them, kind of. And you're also there helping them to take a break when they really need it, because sometimes it can be too overwhelming when all these emotions are flooding, or else when they're not feeling an emotion and they're kind of like feeling this detached from emotions, and it kind of like would feel weird for them where they're not having any emotions. So you're there telling them, this is normal, this is okay. Sometimes I feel as well in reasonable mind, and let's talk about feelings that can come up for you. Another thing that you can do is you can practice regulation skills together. So for example, let's do deep breathing together, let's do body scans together so that we can see where our body is holding tense and let's go of all that tension. You can also have some scriptures that you can go over together as you help your child to calm down. What if your child moves quickly between states, which is again a normal part of behaviors in children, especially children with trauma? So one moment they're super calm, like too calm, and the next moment they're exploding. So again, one time they're in emotion mind and the other one they're in reasonable mind, but we want them to be in wise mind. Then so they seem to be overly mature, over thoughtful, and then at the same time they spiral over something which to you might seem really, really small, but for them it's a big trigger and it throws them off completely. And again, what's most important in the moment to remember that it's not about them being manipulative, it's just a dysregulated nervous system response to past stress, past trauma. So what can you do as the parent? And we discussed more in detail in the previous video about when we were talking about these 3 states of mind as a parent. So pause before reacting. In the moment, just pause and say, okay. So you're going to pause, and you're also going to start noticing these 3 different states of mind in your child. So you're asking, what mind state are they in right now? And then you're also going to say, what mind state am I in now? Because most of the times it kind of like catches on, their state catches on you. So, and what's important is that first you calm yourself down to go as much as possible close to your wise mind, and then support your child in that. Again, your child is watching. Then your goal isn't to fix the emotion. Your goal is to co-regulate and wait for the wise mind to return. it will return. You might just be curious, you just might be prompting, but you're not controlling their child to go to wise mind. It's kind of like it has to follow its course, but you're there guiding them. And the same, like I said last week, in the 3 states of mind for as a parent, it's not about perfect parenting, it's not about a perfect child. So celebrating those little moments, and for children it's harder because they don't have much practice. So what you're going to do is, if you're noticing your child going into wise mind after 10 minutes of uncontrollable emotions, you're going to celebrate that step. So they went to wise mind and it took them 10 minutes, and maybe next time it's taking them 9.5 minutes, and discussing with them what helps you, what can we do together, what can we support you, so that you know what you need in the moment. By again, not trying to fix it or to control it, because then it might come across to your child as, I'm not okay when I'm in emotion mind and I'm reasonable mind, and my parent wants me to be in wise mind and is forcing me to be in wise mind. So just being curious and helping each other. You can also ask things like, okay, you are in emotion mind, how are you feeling? Were you feeling good in emotion mind? What do you need in the moment? Do you think you need to be in emotion mind, or you think you need to move into wise mind? What would be helpful for you? And then once they're in wise mind, you say, okay, how is it feeling now for you when you're in wise mind? How are your emotions going? How is your thinking brain going for you? So that they can start building their own awareness of what's happening to them when they're in emotion mind, when they are in reasonable mind, and mostly what's happening to them when they're in wise mind. I think what's important is to think that your child's mind isn't broken because they're going through all these steps. It's what their own body and nervous system is doing to survive. Your presence, your calm, your consistency are helping them learn that they don't have to do this alone, and that you can support them so that they can transition from the other outer states into the wise mind. And again, the important message that it's not wrong to be in emotion mind or to be in reasonable mind, but a wise mind is healthier, and to bring us back to wise mind, and not to stay in emotion mind the whole day, for example. Also, so you don't have to parent perfectly, but I think just being mindful that every time you respond with attunement, with calm, with presence, you're actually building their neural pathways they need to live from this wise mind. So you're actually co-regulating with them, you're co-teaching them how to do it eventually by themselves. If this video helped you, please like, subscribe, comment below. Let me know what has been helping for you and your child to move through these 3 states, and what helps you to remain in your wise mind. Check the description for links to more trauma-informed resources, including the worksheet for this topic. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.